Hey guys, welcome back to the My Opinion podcast. I'm your host, Maya Roffler, and today I have Caroline Peters with me. She is the founder of Colorado Social, and she's going to be sharing her business with us, but of course, sharing a upcoming business challenge that she has. And we're going to go through some solutions today, and of course, I'm going to give my opinion. So, Caroline, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I am looking forward to having your
Yes.
opinion um, because it is time to get this advice.
Well, yes, and we all need to congratulate Caroline because she is expecting. So we're going to be talking about that a lot too. So congrats on that as well.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited for you too. It's her first, guys. So, tell us a little bit about Colorado Social. How did this get started? We have a local celeb with us too. You were in sports, right,
Mhm.
and casting. So, tell us about this. Tell us about your background.
Yeah, so real quick, I was a sportscaster out east in West Virginia, the Pittsburgh area, loved it. Realized I'm never going to see my husband. So then I switched to news and I was a news reporter in Colorado Springs for 3 years. And with that, I grew a passion for helping small businesses and telling their stories. But after the burnout and the 2 a.m. alarm, I decided I need to switch what I'm doing. And that inspired me to launch Colorado Social. So I still do storytelling, but I do it in a way where I'm editing, managing, and helping people show up on social media. So I'm a social media marketer and a social media manager now.
That's awesome. I love your background. It's very cool.
Thanks.
So were you like, tell us, Caroline, were you into like really big into Instagram, TikTok? Like, did you just enjoy that space? How did you decide to go from doing sportscasting? Because that's fun and exciting. I totally understand wanting more of a balance though.
Yeah.
Were you kind of just good at Instagram and social and TikTok? Or was this like, what made you branch into that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'd like to think I was good at it, but really we had to do it as part of our job. And so
Sure.
as you see the world changing, news, sports, it's linear, but it's also on your phone, right? And a big part of the expectation was we had to also be creating social media content. So I felt like I was doing double the job at that point, linear and
Yeah.
nonlinear content, and it was time to make a decision. Also, when I spoke with small businesses, so many of them said that's where they needed help. And so I saw a need in the market.
I love that. So yeah, here you were out with the people and like you saw a problem, which all of my entrepreneurs listening, you see a problem, you solve a problem, you now have a business,
Yep.
right? That's perfect. And what I think is so cool about your story too, Caroline, is, again, you were out and about and this is what you were doing and you were hearing people talk about this problem and that's how you just kind of dove all in before we hit record. Carol, as you guys know, if you've been on my show, you know this, but we kind of chat before. But Caroline was sharing with me that you went on a trip to Thailand
Yeah.
and you were like meditating on this and you were like, I'm just going to start the biz. And you did. And it took off, right?
Yep. Went to Thailand for a month and, it really just helped me become centered again and realize, okay, what skills do I have? I wrote them down, storytelling being at the top of it. And when I came back, I knew it was time. I also want to shout out all of the amazing women in Colorado Springs who are entrepreneurs who encouraged me because I don't think I would have had the confidence to just start, right? But as a journalist, you're a researcher, and that's what I did. I locked myself in a room, how to start an LLC.
Yeah.
And in 2 weeks, I launched and had my website up. And it's so freeing to see that all the journalism skills were transferable into doing what I'm doing now.
I love that. Yeah. And I think something that's important about your story too, Caroline, and I hope those of you listening that maybe haven't started the business yet, because we have a lot of people out there too that haven't started, it's not as complicated as we need to make it, right? Like sometimes I would hear people tell, other people like, just start. Or even when I hadn't started yet, it was like, and that feels really overwhelming. But honestly, just starting, like just sit down, get your LLC, or just sit down, make the website. It's those little baby steps that, like you, in 2 weeks, you're like, oh my God, we're here. I already had referrals. I already have some people because of the ecosystem that I was in. And I think what's important about your story too, Caroline, is that you again saw a problem with people that you knew, and that's exactly how I started my event business, and it was especially during COVID and people needed to go virtual. I saw a problem, I solved it, and that's what you did too, and I think that's great. I think it's a good way for people to understand, like, you don't have to have it all figured out
Oh,
to
no.
start it. Yeah,
Absolutely not, and I kept things so simple when I started because people are like, "What scheduling tools?" I'm like, "Meta Business Suite, only doing Facebook and Instagram to start." Now I do TikTok too and LinkedIn, but you have to walk before you can fly.
right. Yeah, that's kinda your quote, I love that. You have to walk before you can fly. I love that. Yeah, and I agree, and I think this is your space, so you know better than me, but I think that people get social fatigue, right? Social media fatigue,
Mhm.
I should say rather, right? Where they're like, "Oh my god, there's so many platforms," and you have so many platforms that you don't do any of them, and that's such a miss, right, for a business, I
Mhm.
feel.
Yeah, for sure. And it's hard and I get it. And that's what I try to do. I try to take that stress off my clients, right? Because we all get that imposter syndrome or I'm just tired of it, right? I'm tired of living in comparison. So I try to make it fun for my clients and more about connection so people feel connected to their business and then they want to do business with them.
Yeah. What advice would you have for people listening, you guys that listen to the show, that feel that way, that feel like, because I have a lot of people that even come on the show and they're not really that active on social media, or they feel social media fatigue, or
Mhm.
they feel, right, like you said, also imposter syndrome, like they feel also like, I just don't even want to deal with it. What advice would you give them? Like, would you tell them, like, pick one and start there
Mhm.
and really hone into your audience? Like, if you're the professional girly, like, maybe really go hard on LinkedIn, or if you're someone that really likes to live stream, like, go hard on TikTok and, like, start there. Like, what advice would you give with that, Caroline?
Yeah, I think it's good. Definitely don't start with more than 2. Starting with 1 is good, but to even simplify it more, if you feel weird because we're in an age where I've had, oh my gosh, social media for my whole life, right? I'm a millennial, a younger millennial. And so you're like, okay, I still got people from high school in here or college, and I just feel weird, right? Make a new page, make a
Mhm.
brand new business page, and then you can be your authentic self. And it sucks starting over, I know, with 0 followers, but that page will grow so much quicker when you're comfortable. Also, don't feel like you have to show your face and do a selfie style talking video. There's so many ways you can market your business and you can record a voiceover, you can show behind the scenes. And so get creative. And if you're stumped, reach out for help, right? If you follow my pages on Colorado Social, I'm always giving free advice. But I think it is nerve wracking, but down the road, you are missing out on opportunities that you don't take when it comes to social media. So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's worth trying to be on and growing your business on there.
Great opinion. I love it. I absolutely love it, Caroline. Yeah, I think so too. And I think I notice that a lot when people are like, I just don't want to mess with social media. I don't really want you have to. And I love that advice. Start with two, because I could see also, if you're just starting with one, if you don't get traction on that one, you're
Mhm.
gonna feel really discouraged, right? But if you're doing two, then it's like you can, one day you might have momentum on one you might not. So then you're kind of leveling your expectation too. Do you see that as well,
Oh,
Caroline?
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
and every business is different. So, some of my businesses, they do so great on Facebook,
Hmm.
restaurants, for example, whereas
Of course.
other people who are more in an author space, for example, they might be doing better on Book Talk. So, it just depends, right? And you have to play with it to discover where you're going to perform the best.
You said a couple things in that I really love. One, I like the thing that you said about playing with it, like have fun with it. You've mentioned that a couple times. Have fun with it. Take the
Mhm.
pressure off of it. It's not that deep. It's not that serious,
Yep.
and it'll be exciting when something does work and someone is attracted to your, like you said, book or your restaurant because you're hitting the right place. The other thing that you said that's really important that I talk about all the time, as we were chatting before we did the episode, I talk about sales a lot,
Mhm.
which that's not your business challenge we're going to be talking about today. Not your challenge at all. But I can see why you don't have that challenge, because you have this conquered yourself, Caroline. Like you said, restaurants do great on Facebook, right?
Mhm.
Book folks, authors do great on Book Talk. Go where your people are, right?
Mhm.
So in picking your two social platforms, If, like I joked earlier, if I'm the professional gal, I need to be on LinkedIn. If I'm giving professional advice, I need to be on LinkedIn. If I'm, selling Labubus, I need to be on TikTok. It's knowing where your audience lives. So you clearly have that covered. So again, you hit the ground running. You worked with over a dozen clients kind of out the gate. You're a very new business. Talk to us about what your challenge is right now, because it's definitely not sales. So tell us
Yeah.
what's going on. Yeah.
I'm thankful that it's not sales. But I am a kind of a nervous wreck because I'm going to have a baby boy here in 3 months. And
Hmm.
I want to make sure that I'm scaling appropriately. I hired two, assistants, and they've been doing great. But at the end of the day, we're still picking up clients, and I don't want them to be overwhelmed. I also don't want to miss out on opportunities to grow my business because that entrepreneur mindset. And so I want to make sure I'm scaling effectively without overwhelming my team. And then also giving up that control, right? As a founder, because I'm going to take 8 weeks of a maternity leave. And some people say you don't even know what's in store with postpartum. So of
Hmm.
course, my mind is moving in 100 directions right now.
Yeah. That's a lot. So we've got a lot to unpack here. Okay. So the good news for you, Caroline, is that you already have some help, right? And you have some people that are in your corner and are working with you.
Yeah.
A lot of entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, don't have that, right? And so going out on a maternity leave, like, it's not even an option. It's not, right?
Wow.
So I mean, it's just not, right?
Mhm.
Because you haven't really set that up for success. So, and the great news is, if, when you guys hear this, we're recording 3 months out for her from her due date, essentially, right? Give or take,
Yep.
right? So we've got some time
Mhm.
to set yourself up for success, to set your business up, to set the momentum up, to set your team up for success, because that's really where this is going to continue to thrive for you, because we want to keep your clients happy, we want to keep your team happy, and you want to come back, new mom, and feel like you can hit the ground running again.
Yes.
So, lots of things to unpack here. So, we were chatting about this before, but so you guys know, she's got one freelancer that is probably going to go mostly full time, and then we've got another part time. So I think something to think about here, just my opinion and take on this, and obviously jump in at any point, Caroline. I think the more in these 90 days that you can invest in these freelancers, the better, right?
Mhm.
So this would be my time where I would be just mentoring the heck out of them, right? Anything, the more shadowing you guys can do, the more co-working time you guys can do, more than what you normally would. And I don't mean this in like a micromanagement way. I'm not sure what your management style is, but I'm not micromanagey. I hated it when I was in corporate. I don't know about you, but I
No,
hated it.
I'm not a
Right.
micromanager.
Right. And I don't find it effective, especially running a business like the one you're running, right? Where you guys are managing social media. Like, they can, as long as they get their work done, like, I wouldn't necessarily mind when they were doing their work, or, it's about producing, it's
Yep.
about results. But I would take the next 90 days, leading up, to have some co-working time together, to have some time where you, obviously, you're a full-timer versus your part-timer, it's going to take more time,
Mhm.
but giving them not the micromanagement time, but some co-working time. If you guys are local to each other, setting up some time to spend time together, giving information, also creating kind of any flow documents or things like that that maybe have been missed. Also having them tell you, like, how can I set you up for success? They may or may not know that answer, but it's a good conversation to have, because it also lets them know that you're really concerned about it. But also, I want you to spend some time. Really, I love that you meditate. So, this is kind of like your
Mhm.
business meditation. I want you to spend some time thinking about all the processes and things that you do in your day to day that maybe they don't know about.
Yeah.
And especially your full time person, I want you to write that down. I want you to write it down, and I want you to kind of create your standard operating procedures for your business. Have you written something like this yet, Caroline?
It's funny because I've been meditating on it and I was like, "Huh, I do a lot and I need to write it down." And then
There we go.
those that term came to my mind, which I hated when I worked in corporate, and now I 100% understand it.
Yes, but you know what's this is your company.
Yeah.
So you can make it fun. You can call it something totally different. You can call it like the Colorado social standard or something like something to you know what I mean? Like whatever you want to call it. But standard operating procedures in corporate America, as I know and you know very well, because that's where we come from, and a lot of you are still there listening, right?
Mhm.
Standard operating procedures are kind of like wah, wah, but they exist for a reason.
Yeah.
They become mismanaged sometimes in companies, right? Like where it's supposed to operate in a certain way and we don't understand why. What I encourage entrepreneurs like us to do is create lean standard operating procedures. It doesn't need to be a 100-page book, but it needs to be something that if you, for some reason, let's say you have an oh my God forbid your baby boy comes early, right?
Mhm.
You can hand this to your team and they will be able to float. And beyond that, they will start to swim, right? Like this is your emergency. I like for us to think of this as like your floaty, your life preserver, versus where in some corporations, when it gets a little out of control, they get away from that mentality and they think more like it has to be done like this. No, that eliminates creativity and ways for people to innovate, right? This is really your life vest for your team if something were to happen because life happens, right? What if the baby comes early? What if you have to get on bed rest for, I hope this doesn't happen, but you know, there's what ifs in life. And so this is what I would do immediately if I was you. Okay. And something I would do that will make this even more beneficial to your team and anybody else coming on board is ask their feedback. Hey guys, are there things that, because they're part of building, your company's quite young, they're
Yeah.
part of the building team. And that gives them a sense of like, wow, that's really cool that she wants us a part of this. You know, they feel ownership and they're going to adhere to those standard operating procedures even more when they're part of building it with you. That's what I would do.
I think that's
Okay.
great advice, and
Yeah.
I just realized, leadership skills, I need to work on those, because they're not mind readers at the end of the day.
100%. 100%. If you have not told them, they're not going to know, right? So, but this is why I love this exercise for you. So, if I were you, this would be my goal. Finish this by the end of January. Okay. Finish this by the end of January. This would be my number one priority because this is a wonderful way for them, for you to communicate with them, for you to create open communication. I'm sure you have it, but even more so, right? But I love what you said. You're like, they're not mind readers. Just because you know how to do something doesn't mean they know how to do it, right? Or they understand the flow of how you would prefer that it's done. Not because you're this stickler, but because you're creating this culture for Colorado social, right? This is how we do things here. If there's a better, more innovative way to do it, like share that with me. Let's collaborate on that. But here's the standard if you're in that moment with, oh, how do I do that? They can reference this and look at this. And I don't want you to look, you guys are a social media and marketing management firm, right? That's what you
Mhm.
guys are doing. I don't want to see a 100-page book. I don't want to see a 50-page book.
No.
This should be, this is how we operate. This is how we deal with clients. This is how you guys get paid. This is how all these things that are basic. You're freelancers, so you really don't have to go super deep into the HR stuff, right? It's
Mhm.
just the basic kind of contractual stuff. Create that resource for them, involve them in the process. I think that will be a fabulous step, right? You're going to feel a big weight lifted off of you
Yeah.
because it will give them some resources. Okay. I would also go a step further and build in what happens on maternity because you're right. They're not mind readers, right? So what happens when you go out on maternity or leave, right? You can just have a clause in there about leave. Like, what does that look like?
Mhm.
They're freelancers, right? So if they have to take time, they take their time. But it's good to go ahead and build that now because it sounds like you're going to keep growing, right? So like, what does that look like, right? Who do we contact? How do we engage? Things like that. Because when you're on leave, but this is a way for you to also, like you said, you want to beef up your leadership skills. This is a way for you to tell them and set expectations now. Hey guys, when my baby comes, these are the 8 weeks that I'm going to take. Here's what constitutes an emergency here and outlining all of this. So there's no guesswork, right? Because it's your business at the end of the day. You can't really take a traditional maternity leave.
Yeah.
You can't, right? If there was some big emergency, I mean, thank goodness we're not doing brain surgery. Like, thank
For
goodness, right?
sure.
Thank goodness. But, I think creating those boundaries, Caroline, is going to be really, really important so that they understand, like, hey, if a client is reaching out to them and needs a question about this and this and this, give them the resources for that. But what constitutes reaching out to me and having that clearly defined? And that, I think we're getting a little bit away from standard operating procedures. Some of that can be in there, but
Yeah.
then also, I want you to create, this is the next step. I want you to create your maternity game plan. And you may have done some of this already, but that's kind of what we're talking through as well, you and I, right? So, one, we're going to do standard operating procedures. Two, you're going to create a maternity game plan. I want this to be a one pager, and I want you to sit with them and this be like, you guys all, can you all get like meet for lunch or coffee or something like that? Are you all local?
Yeah, so 2 of us are in Colorado Springs and one's in Denver. It's only an hour.
Fabulous. I know, I know. I'm so jealous. I love Denver and Colorado Springs. So beautiful places. Perfect. So that's what I would do, right? To set them up for success and say, hey guys, any input, are we comfortable with this? That's, again, you're working on your communication as a leader. So I love that for you as well. So that's the next thing, your maternity engagement plan, whatever you want, and define that for the 8 weeks that you're out. So that's your logistics, right? That's how you're going to operate as a company, and that's how you're going to operate while you're out.
Great.
Let's get into your next issue, right? I don't know if it's an issue, but you have great sales, right? And you have clients, right? You've had some movement with clients, one come on, a few, that happens, especially in the nature of it's like my event business.
Yep.
We have some new ones come on some years, some stay for a couple years, then they decide they're going to scale back, there happens, budgets, all of that. Very, very normal. I would like to think that you could continue to grow. Okay. And here's why I think this. Because if you really build these standard operating procedures and you really show them, like, this is how we're going to engage during maternity leave, I don't see why you shouldn't continue to build your pipeline and do your sales like you have been doing and doing such a phenomenal job with it. But this is also going to tap back into what we've been talking about, because I think you should sit down with your existing team. This should be a part of that talk and say, guys, here's our standard operating. Here's what, I wrote this. I want your feedback. Here's maternity leave game plan. Here's that. Now let's talk sales. This is like going to kind of be a 3-pronged conversation that you have with them. Ongoing, right? But a big talk. Here's where we are with our clients. Here's the workload we have daily, weekly. How are you guys feeling about that?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable taking on more? Which you shared a little bit with me before we jumped into the episode.
Yeah.
You have started to have those conversations with them, which is good.
Yes, they're both phenomenal, great creatives, and they both want to take on more. So that's good.
That's amazing. But you, as the leader, now have to sit with each one and say, okay, you're giving me 15 hours a week. Talk me through your 15 hours, right? And when I'm saying this, I can already hear in my head some people being like, well, Maya, that's really micromanaging. No. We're doing this collaboratively, right? Like, I want to talk about this to set you up for success. Not because I'm like, what are you doing for 15 hours every week? No, right? Or what are you doing for 40 hours? No, you're doing this in a way where you're going to say, hey, Caroline, you're here 15 hours a week for me right now. Can you do more? If they're, Caroline says, yes, I can. Great. So we can do 20. Walk me through where you are right now with 15. What are we doing every week with 15? Here's your clients, this and that. Cool. So then you're going to know one of two things. You're going to say, that sounds like a lot for 15 hours, actually, Caroline. You know what I mean? Like, are you sure you're comfortable or what, and then you start to have that collaborative conversation. Same thing for Maya, who's your full-time person, right? Like, maybe Maya, hey, 40 hours. Wow. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a comfortable 40, actually. I could see you picking up another account that week, right? And then it's collaborative, it's not micromanaging, but also it starts to get you to understand how much you can scale.
Yeah.
Right. And how much you can, and then it also helps you understand, can I bring another freelancer on? Because that was another thing that you had mentioned that potentially you would consider doing, and how many hours you would need. So there's a lot of things going on with this and what you can do, but this is going to be really critical, is understanding your existing team, what their bandwidth is, what they're comfortable with, what they're working on. And I'm sure you know a lot of that, but having the collaborative conversation around that is going to help you, instead of just running in sales and being like, all right, guys, we got another client. Who can take it? Who can take it? Who can take it? Wolf of Wall Street kind of vibes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want that.
Right. Right. So that would be my advice, kind of this three-pronged approach to that. And also in like your standard operating procedures, you're going to have, I don't know what onboarding looks like for your clients right now, but I'm sure you guys have a standard process for that. And you would have to make sure that both of these folks working for you are very comfortable with that.
Mhm.
And if you do bring on that kind of that third, I would this would just be my opinion. I'd probably just do a part timer because that's a lot happening in 90 days, right? So just supplement some of that time if you need it with sales. Sounds like you might.
Yeah.
Um, but I would also make sure that there's kind of, which it sounds like it'd be your full time person, kind of that point person that does that onboarding. So there's a clear flow, right? And maybe this is a sales standard operating procedure that you kind of put at the back of your standard operating. Say, hey guys, so when we bring a new client on, especially when I'm not here, this is what we do, right?
Mhm.
Maya onboards that person, speaks with the client, sets clear expectations, onboards. Then you guys meet, and that, whatever that looks like.
Mhm.
And that will set them up for success as well, especially if you're bringing on another freelancer and having open communication between all of them.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy how, bringing a child into the world really makes you even ramp your business up more, right?
Yes. 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 But I mean, this is all good. Like
Yeah,
these are all really good problems. So for scaling, because I want to make sure I'm answering your business challenge, like that again, those are the things that I would focus on. To answer your question about whether to scale or not to scale, yes. I wouldn't take on another 15 clients though in the next 90 days, right? I would be very intentional and collaborative with my team about what's realistic
yeah,
because I would much rather come back after having my baby and having this amazing family time to okay, maybe we only grew 1, 2, maybe 3 clients, but everybody's happy
mm,
and we're good and we have the opportunity to like go higher now
yeah,
versus bringing on a bunch of clients. My team is frazzled. They're all like, I've got, 40 hours worth of work. I'm trying to cram into 20 hours a week. So that's what I would be looking at. And it's the important communication between you and your team. And you're right. It's going to help you. You're going to grow a lot as a leader through this.
yeah.
And delegating tasks, I think it's one of the hardest things for leaders to learn to delegate.
It's been freeing, I'll say that, but at
Right.
first I had to sit and think, "Oh." And then there's always the things that still make you special as the founder, right? That only you can bring. But I can duplicate myself, and that's what I'm trying to do, is instill it in them, right?
Yes, you can. So, a couple things. I love that you brought this up. So, a couple things I want to say about that. One, you're right. You are the special sauce because you are the person that founded this, right? And a lot of people are working with you, if not all of your clients are working with you because of you.
Mhm.
But something I would challenge you on as a leader, because I've talked about leadership for years on this show, and it's something I'm really passionate about. You want to find people that are aligned with you, like you said, and are kind of mini yous or culturally aligned with you. But I'd also challenge your team to tap into their special sauce so that they have clients that are like, I really love working with Maya. Like, I love you too, Caroline. But you know what? Maya, just the way she gets my brand voice on social, I'm just something about her. That's awesome because that's going to make you want to delegate even more. And then on your team, when you start bringing in clients, you're going to go, you know what? We'd love to work with you, but I think you know what? You're actually going to be best for Maya because she's kind of got that quirky social vibe like you guys do, right?
I love
Or
that.
hey, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you can now, that's
Mm,
how you're going to scale even more, Caroline, because if it's just you, you want to be the face, you want to be the leader, you want to build the culture, but you also want to attract different types of clients. You just don't want right? Like you want different types of clients. That's when I really knew that I was growing my event business when people were like, God, I have this amazing event assistant. Okay. He's been with me for years.
mhm.
He left me in October. Just a
Oh.
little sidebar. He's back. Okay.
Oh, good.
Thank God. He moved to DC and he goes, I can't do it. I'm back in Atlanta. I am thrilled. Do you know several of my clients they were more excited. I'm like, "Okay, I'm chopped liver, but but I know I'm doing something right now,"
Yeah.
In the beginning, I used to think, "Well, what's wrong with me?" No, I did the right thing because these clients are loving him and his vibe. Doesn't mean that they like me any less, but it's going to help you scale because that's what we're really talking about. How do we scale even when you are giving birth to your first child? Like, how do we do that? This is another way, and this is going to carry you even further though as you build people and bring people on. So also as you're hiring, you've got your two freelancers now, but as you're hiring and as you maybe you bring people and as you grow, they go full time, right? And you've got one that you're kind of on the precipice with that. Think about different clients that would be attracted to those people while it aligns culturally with you, but still it's like, well, that kind of, maybe you get into nonprofits, right? Like maybe you're small business. So maybe this person's really into small business. Maybe one person's really into like not for profit work. Maybe another person is really into like influencer work.
Mhm.
I'm making this up, but like that's when you start to be really versatile and then your people are connecting and you can delegate more. They can manage those accounts more and you can really get into the logistics and the running of your business. It's going to help you with delegation and leadership a lot.
I do love that, and I worry, I want my employees to be having fun. I know that sounds weird. I want them to
No.
enjoy helping clients and enjoy the stuff that they're working on, and I also want my clients to be excited as well, so I do get that, like, I might not be everyone's cup of tea, but if I can help more small businesses grow on social because my employee is, that's wonderful.
So this is one more challenge I'm going to give you.
Mhm.
Like you need it right now, right?
Yeah.
3 months away from giving birth. But one more challenge I'll give you: ask your freelancers, ask your team. Hey, what clients? Of course, this is just a team building exercise and what you're going to do. But hey, like, what's your favorite account? Why do you like working on that account? What kind of accounts do you want to work on in the future? Cool. So if I go out and start talking, it's going to help you with also looking out and farming for business, okay? And hunting for business. I should say hunting. So if you know Maya on your team really likes working with nonprofits, I do. That's why I'm talking about that. So then you can say, cool, like let's hit all the top 50 nonprofits that are happening in, Colorado and let's start talking to them. And I really know Maya wants to work with them and maybe start including me on some of the sales calls and stuff when they get hot, right?
Yeah.
So that's a way to get them invested in the company and really jazzed about what they're doing. We all know, like, yes, I love that you want them to have fun at work. We all know there's going to be hard times and there's going to be fun times. But if they truly enjoy the clients and the type of work they're doing, you're going to grow exponentially because of that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this has been very great and insightful.
Okay, good. I'm glad this was super helpful. And congratulations again, Caroline. I'm so glad this was helpful. Tell us again where we can find you and how we can work with you
Yeah,
at
so
Colorado.
my website is just colorado-social.com, and then it's just Colorado Social. Can't miss me on
Love
Instagram,
it.
Facebook, TikTok.
Love it. So, yes. So, and again, she's not just in Colorado, as we talked about. She works with clients all over the US, right?
Yep, that's true. I started in Colorado, but we've been growing, so it's exciting.
It is very exciting. So, you'll keep us posted, keep us updated. She's also active in our new Facebook group, too. So, if you guys are not in our Facebook group, join us
Yes.
for women entrepreneurs and leaders. So, Caroline, thank you so much for sharing this with us today and your challenges. And I think I'm excited to see you grow. I think it's going to be awesome.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Maya.
Thank you. And thank you guys so much for listening to the My Opinion podcast. We'll see you on the next episode.